to the Starry-Eyed podcast. My name is Brendan.
And I'm Jen. On this show, we chat about all things Williams syndrome.
The ups and downs and what it's like living with.
And being a parent to someone with
Williams syndrome.
We're excited to share our community with you. Thanks for being here.
Sarah, so for people who don't know who you are, if you are part of the Williams syndrome community and you don't know who Sarah is, that must be a very weird rock you're living under.
It means they're not open in their emails, which they should do because there's a lot of great information in there.
Info in the emails. But yeah, we're super excited to have Sarah on. I'm going to join, whether y'all like it or not.
The more the merrier is the season, right?
We thought it would be fun to just sort of look back at the year. But before we look back, I want to, on behalf of myself and the rest of the staff, is just publicly acknowledge and say thank you, Sarah, for keeping this organization going.
No, you've done a great job, Sarah.
You have, through pretty much the entirety of the year, you have been the leader, and you have led us, and we put on the number of accomplishments that we have done in this year. It's a mighty trophy. This organization would not have made it through this year without you, and I hope you know how loved you are. I'll stop talking before I start crying. Let me turn it over to Brendan and Jen here for a minute.
Well, and let me just say really quickly, Joel, this is not a me thing. Like this has nothing to do with me. Like no one person can do this. That's not how this works. And so without the rest of the staff, who is just an incredible group of people who has weathered a year that none of us expected to be like this, frankly. Nobody could have done it without all of you. So I thank you, because there's no one leading a ship if there's no ship. And so there's none of that without all of you. And then extended from that, all the volunteers. We have just hundreds and hundreds of incredible people who make this organization what it is. And so I'm looking at a few of you here, Brendan on the board, Jen doing this podcast and everything else that you do, the executive director search that's happening right now. That is it's all such important stuff that's going on that we can't do. None of it happens without people who are just as dedicated to how important this organization is. So to all of you that I'm looking at here and all of you out there, the hundreds of volunteers that we had at convention, I think our list was about 250 people long of volunteers, all of the professionals that support us. We just have this unbelievable community of brilliant, kind, generous, talented people that serve on our board, that are our professional advisors and researchers, and that work clicks, and I could go on and on. Locally, all throughout the country, this small staff that we have can't be everywhere. And the volunteers that are out there hosting walks and hosting the social events and taking those phone calls when somebody gets a new diagnosis, there is nothing about this organization that is one person. It just doesn't work. And so I appreciate the gratitude, and somebody's got to make sure the lights stay on. And it's been a heck of a roller coaster. And I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to do it. But if it was just me, this wouldn't exist either. So that was a long rant, but it's so important right now because nobody can do this by themselves. And that's make sure this organization exists, and this journey that we all walk with Williams syndrome. None of us can do it by ourselves. So thank all of you here on my screen and out there in the bigger world.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful, the magnitude of care that our community has for Williams syndrome. I mean, I work in a lot of different spaces with disability, and I know that when people are close to a cause like this, that they're passionate, but I think like our community is like one up, right? Like they are so passionate and our community wants to contribute so very much and they want to be included and they want to make a difference. It's a pretty special thing that we have here and we all do it together. The goods and the bads, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So tell us about like 2024. I heard that you guys have lots of things that you want to share with the community about things that have went well and things that you want to highlight. So like, here's your floor.
Let's talk about the podcast. So we released 20 new episodes in this past year, including, and then in addition to that, 2 podlets. I call them podlets because it was right around the convention time and it was, I'm too tired and I can't find anybody and I don't want to have to track down an interview and edit it. So it was usually just either the 3 of us. Sometimes it was just Brendan and I.
20 podcasts feels like 400.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. It is a lot of work to make.
Absolutely.
A lot of work for you mostly, Joel, but it's a lot to get.
I mean, I guess technically by the time the calendar year ends, it'll be 22 new episodes because, episode 47 dropped this morning.
Oh yeah.
We're recording this and this of course is 48. We did our first ever Starry-Eyed podcast live with a live audience at the convention.
Fun.
That was amazing.
I love to tell people that there were so many people that wanted to come and that we had to change the venue for it.
Yeah.
To one of the small ballrooms. So most people are still getting they're ingesting the content on YouTube. We had about 5,000 views and 367.5 hours watched of our silly mugs.
Oh.
The audio version, we are literally, I just was looking at it this morning and we'll pass it with the podcast that just dropped this morning, but we are at 9,991 downloads. So we will pass 10,000 in just a little bit here. And we have frequent downloads. So this isn't just the weird random one-off. We have frequent and regular downloads. So either subscribers or people that just regularly get it. In Canada, obviously. Australia, makes sense. Germany, the UK, Spain, China, Sweden, and Poland. We have regular listeners. So if you're listening to this, Poland, Sweden, China, we thank you. Hope that we're helping. And then more and more people are watching this on Facebook, which is tracking the metrics on Facebook. I'm still trying to figure out, but we're getting lots of a lot of people are starting to consume it when I post it on the Starry-Eyed podcast page on the Facebook. So that's pretty cool. That's not bad. We're hanging in there, podcast.
We're cruising, man. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, without people listening, we can't do this work, right? And that's amazing. Thank you, community, for being and looking at us.
Yep. Thank you to our Pim on YouTube, who she comments on every show that we do. Yeah, go to the YouTube page and check out the comments. She comments.
Yeah, I always respond.
Yep.
And yeah,
Brendan's always on top of it. I try to get in there and respond too. So obviously the big news of 2024 was the convention. Sarah touched on it a little bit. We had 191 volunteers.
A lot of people.
Yep. Well, speaking of people, so when the convention was originally booked to be in Phoenix, the expected attendance was around 800, 900. At the outset, we were like, maybe 1,000. We had 1,261 attendees for the week in Phoenix.
Yeah.
We had 87 sessions, 95 speakers. We had roundtable discussions. We had lunch and learns, and all of that done by a staff of 7. We increased the number of educational opportunities for adults with Williams syndrome. We had an African American family meetup. We had a Spanish speaking family meetup. And of course, Glow Bingo. Karaoke every night.
That was amazing. That was so much fun.
The Diamondbacks game.
It was pretty important to us that we offered some free entertainment, every night. That was a very intentional thing this year to make sure that we knew that families already had a large expense to get to convention. So making sure that there was something to do every night that didn't cost anything extra was pretty important. And it was incredibly well received. So we know that those are things that we're going to stick with in the future for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we were able to give out 60 scholarships to families so that they could attend the convention. We had 19 sponsors and underwriter, including our first ever premier sponsor. Shout out to InnerSense Organic.
Yeah.
They're my favorite. I love them.
InnerSense, bringing it. Pretty amazing week.
I will say it was the convention was a blur to me because I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off most of the time. But nonetheless, I had a great time, and yeah,
We had fun.
headed for this upcoming convention. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Mhm.
Anytime we were needing somebody to help with something, somehow Brendan, like poof, magically appeared and
I'm
was
here.
there.
Hello. Hi.
You were in
Me.
there.
Yes, me.
From the beginning to the
I was gonna
end.
say, I think like I saw Brendan in his like best light there. Like you were just so amazing in so many ways, Brendan.
Absolutely.
Leader mode.
Absolutely. More of that happening in future conventions with others too. That's definitely a focus for us, is getting people with Williams syndrome out there leading.
Bring it on. I
I'm
am
not doing
help.
that. So
I want to
that's-
help, or I want to be part of. I can do
That's
either
right.
or.
We're gonna be doing more of that.
And sure, I mean, there are people that just want to come to convention and enjoy the camaraderie, and that's fine. But there are
No, that's great.
there are others who come and are like, okay, this is my convention. Put me to work.
Yes.
Which we are all for. Yeah.
We have a tin of Crazy Aaron's Thinking Putty now with the WSA on it. So
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then a couple weeks later, we went ahead and did camp.
Yep.
and that is the challenge that the WSA has, is we have summer camp every summer, and every other year we go convention and then camp very quickly right around it. Camp went beautifully this summer. It was our second year in this location, so it was nice to be able to be where we were familiar. We had some really incredible parents and family members step up as volunteers this year, so that instead of being paid staff, we had some volunteers, which was a really cool shift in our model in the efforts to, make sure we're both being, fiscally responsible and increasing access for people. It allows us to, provide more scholarships and do things like that when we're not having to pay camp staff. And that's a really cool dynamic to watch, parents and siblings and other family members interacting too. So I think we had about 140 people at camp this summer. We do that just outside of Atlanta. It's an incredible group that we partner with at Camp Twin Lakes. Their camp was designed to be accessible and provides services for all kinds of different programs with differing needs. So both physical disabilities, intellectual and developmental disabilities, also supports groups dealing with trauma or death or things like that too. So, but that is all they do. And so they're an incredible organization to partner with. We're grateful to be partners with them. We'll be back there again next summer. That's the other thing I want to do, is sprinkle little things in this podcast of what's happening next year.
Yeah.
And camp's going to look a little different next year for a few different reasons. It will
Are you
be.
telling us? Can you tell us? Can we have Easter eggs?
We have not shouted it yet, but here's the little tips. It will be on a different week, and it will look it'll just look different because the week moved. Staffing will change a little bit, and how it looks will be a little different, but it's going to feel a little more like just good old summer camp. So lots more boating and biking and climbing and things like that. So that's our little quick tease. Sneak peek.
Joel loves boating. You love the boating, don't you?
It is, I mean, it is everything I've ever dreamed of.
Joel will be leading paddle boats and kayaks. There will be more shade
Good.
at camp this year for a few reasons. So just look for announcements soon. I'm hoping maybe we can get some more information out quickly.
The camp that we partner with, Camp Blue Skies, for the adult campers this year. Camp Blue Skies, their Williams Syndrome Week was held the largest amount of campers they've ever had. 69 adult campers came to Camp Blue Skies, and that is by far the most they've ever had. It was really, really terrific. I guess continuing to talk about our adults, we continue with the virtual adventure seekers meetings, 2 meetings every month. So we had 24 virtual adventure seekers meetings and silly games and all that stuff. We had almost 1,000 people over the course of the year attend the virtual sessions. Let's see what else happened in the year. What was your favorite thing that happened this year, Jen?
Like in the WSA, this puts me on the spot. I mean,
Brendan, what was your favorite? Yeah.
I love camp. I love camp.
I know you do love camp.
I don't love lamp. I love camp with a C. I think that was probably my biggest thing because I had so much anxiety about Stella going to teen camp for the first time. And like that really set in, like the reality of dropping her off and then not knowing how it was going. That was real stressful, but that was a big success for her. So
it's so great. Oh my gosh. It's that growth that you get to watch happen, especially the first year of teen camp. And we had a lot of like first time teen campers. It's just incredible to watch.
Yeah. My favorite, couple of my favorite things were going to the New England region event up in Maine. That was really fun. Going to the tri-state area in Orchard Park, and then also getting to check out Niagara Falls. That was amazing. That was probably like one of the highlights of this year for me. Obviously the convention, getting to seeing everybody and hanging out with everybody, but like just going to someplace I've never been to before and getting to like fully like just focus myself on that and, see where the next convention is going to bring us. And yeah, it was really cool.
I love that. Brendan, you said a couple things that made me think we should talk about those events because those were social events.
Yes, social events.
So let's talk about that for a minute. There's been an evolution of programming and things at the WSA over the past few years as leadership has changed, programs have shifted. And so when we talk sneak peek for the future, one of the things that's so incredibly important to us that we really formalize and really revitalize again is ensuring that there are local volunteer leaders in as many places in the country as we can. So those kind of events that Brendan, you listed as like your faves, are happening all over the place. And so I would say on top of the things that happen every year routinely, our top priority for 2025 for the WSA is revitalizing and relaunching what used to be known as the regional chair program. We're taking a look at, right? I know. Do regions make sense? Do state-based leaderships make sense? So that's what we're working on now. But that is top priority. Joel's got his map going. That is our top priority next year because we know, especially all of us, we're all impacted by this. I know specifically for me, my world shifted that very first picnic that I went to, that I took Matthew with me when he was teeny tiny, and I got to see other faces that looked like his and other people that got what we were experiencing. And so those connections are game changers for people. And so, as that program was shifted by previous leadership a number of years ago. We launched the Family Support Network, which we'll talk about some of those virtual support meetings that are happening too. there are still about 150 people signed up as family support volunteers. So there are events happening out there throughout the country. But what we're missing is that local leadership that really like drove those local committees and ensured that there were social events happening. So that is happening in a big way in 2025. So if you are someone who hasn't been involved but wants to get involved, helping coordinate those efforts. And those are things like when a new family joins the WSA and they have a new diagnosis, we will reach out to a local volunteer and say, hey, can you reach out to this family and let them know that you're there for whatever you need? So those outreaches, getting everybody together at a park to just be able to socialize, making sure that your local hospital has the contact information for the WSA and brochures. It's those types of things, those like on the ground grassroots efforts that we can't do with our small staff, and that so many of you are passionate about. So if that's something that you want to get involved in, reach out to us at the WSA, reach out to Joel, reach out to me. But you're going to see lots of communication about that in 2025. That's a big thing. So I just wanted to put that out there because I know we know it's happening, but a lot of people out there don't know it's happening. So we want to make sure that that's communicated.
Yeah, and I just want to add a little thing. My bio dad went with me to the event in Orchard Park, and he had a blast. And he hasn't really gone to a lot of the Williams syndrome things before. So I just, I thought that was just really cool for him to actually like finally kind of see what it's like to be in my realm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's, my bio dad and I have a great relationship, and it was really cool to have him tag along and be open to doing something like this with me. It meant a lot. So
And that's the power of these types of events. It's also the value in, shameless plug here, becoming a member of the WSA, which is free. But that membership ensures that you get our newsletters that tell people when these social events are happening, when our walks are happening, because it's not just for the individuals with Williams syndrome. It's not just for their parents. You see all the extended family show up at these things, and that's incredibly powerful too. And that's what creates these communities of support that all of us need. That's what creates awareness. So if you're watching this and you're not a member, you don't have to have a family member to be a member. You don't have to do any of those things. But if you're interested in what we're doing, go to our website, click join. It's free, and you'll get our communications. That kind of leads me into walks and things like that happen, because I went to the Pittsburgh walk and my dad came with me, which was super cool. My dad lives in Pennsylvania. He doesn't get to dive into the Williams syndrome realm very often either. And I don't think he stopped talking the entire time. And it was like his best day. So that was super great. As we've all come back from the pandemic and being separated from each other, getting our walks back going again has been a bit of a challenge. And I think that just overall in the nonprofit world, fundraising has shifted a bit, and walks are a little different than they used to be. But it was really exciting to see lots more walks happen this year.
We had 21 walks happen. There was 300 individuals with Williams syndrome that we know of attended. Almost 4,000 people attended walks through over the course of the year. We don't need to like keep people on here forever, just stroking our own egos. The important thing is, I think, before I turn it over to you guys to bring it home, is we're doing, we're continuing to do stuff. We're continuing to get out there, continuing to try to raise awareness and turn awareness into action, so that we can, all of our families and all of our loved ones with Williams syndrome have the chance to be the best version of themselves.
Yeah.
And we're going to continue doing that in 2025.
We send out monthly newsletters, and the one in December will contain kind of a year in review. There will also be a more formal 2024 recap next year as we recap all of that. And then we've got our weekly newsletters that go out that just share all the timely information, so everybody can look out for that. But yes, there will be a great year in review, and and some just teasers for next year.
Ooh, it's already upon us.
It
I think 2025 is going to be a great year.
Agreed.
But I welcome it with open arms.
Well, Sarah, once again, thank you for everything. Just for everything.
Thank you so much.
Yay!
Thanks for inviting me. It was great to be here.
Yes. All the love.
And now
All right. Well, hey, Brett, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Brandon?
Good, bud. It's really good to see you.
It's really good to see you.
Yeah, we've known each other close to 25 years now.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So for those who don't or might not know who you are, why don't you introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
So my name is Bret Fleming. I'm from New Jersey, and I live in Westfield. I'm a songwriter, singer, drummer, performer, and I was involved in the Can Do band with my friend here who is on with me, who's Brendan, and I'm very, very, very happy that you are, just a part of my life besides being a person that has Williams syndrome.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy that you are a part of my life too. It would be very different without you in it. So I'm very thankful for the friendship that we have and that we will continue to have.
Yes.
25 years. That's a long time.
That's a very long time. Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
Brett the first person you met with Williams syndrome? Because you were young then. It was like right when you were diagnosed.
Brett was probably one of the first people when I got to camp, was probably one of the first people that I ever met with Williams syndrome. Brett's a little older than me, so he pretty much took me under his wing and pretty much showed me the ropes at camp. And then from there, it was just like bread and butter. We were stuck together like glue.
Which camp did you guys meet at?
Belvoir Terrace. It's a camp up in Lenox, Massachusetts. Yeah, we met there. And then after Belvoir, we went to BHMA together, didn't we? Or
Yeah.
and then we had our band together for almost 10 years, and we're both involved in Best Buddies.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really special.
As I was saying, I don't know if I said it when we started, but I don't think I've met somebody in the Williams syndrome community who has like this long standing of a friendship. I mean, I'm sure maybe people do, but it seems like you guys have been friends for a long time. Brett, when were you diagnosed with Williams syndrome?
I was diagnosed at a very, very young age, but I found out when I was about 10 years old that I had Williams
You didn't
syndrome.
know until you were.
I had no idea whatsoever.
What happened? How did you find out?
So I was in the backyard of our house, and my parents told me to come out from the pool, and they had to tell me something. And I was sitting down, and I asked them what's going on, and it took them a good couple minutes to explain to me what was going on. They told me that I had Williams syndrome, and the funny thing is that I actually made a joke about it, but the crazy part about it is that when going to my first convention, it totally opened my eyes to realizing that this is going to be with me forever.
Yeah.
Right.
How old were you when you went to your first convention then?
I was about 13.
13. Yeah. And how old were you guys when so you're 37, Brendan?
I'm 37, and Brett, you're 41.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you met then when you were like 13, like right when you were diagnosed, Brendan, right?
Yeah, he was around 16, and I was 13-ish. Yeah.
Oh, so Brett was he was like the cool older friend.
Yep. Always has been.
So Brett, did you know or did you feel that like you had Williams or something like a disability or Williams syndrome before that? Because like at 10, you were what, second or third, fourth grade?
Yeah, well, so the funny thing about that too is that my parents asked me, they were asking me, why do you think that you had a substitute or a tutor? I shouldn't say substitute, but a
Yeah.
tutor with you. I was like, I really don't know why.
Yeah.
I honestly like don't regret any of it, because you're able to. I feel like as I was somewhat getting older, and like in my teen years, for example, from the very point of going to my first convention to going to like classes and realizing that my parents had to go to classes too, because there was like a lot of
That's so much for us to learn.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot for our parents to learn, but it's a lot for us to learn from our parents. It's
Yeah.
it's a lot of give and take.
Yeah. So how was school for you? You had like, so when you were in school, you had maybe somebody with you and your parents were like, why did you think you had this person with you? Like, was school easy for you? Was it hard?
I would say that, there was a lot of things that, when you're young, you don't,
You
you
don't
know,
realize, right?
yeah, it's kind of almost like you try to just go on with your day and you try to, live your life the best way that you can. When they brought up the fact of having a tutor, it didn't really hit me until, again, going back to the convention.
Yeah.
And you said so did you grow up in Connecticut?
So I was born in Summit, and then
New Jersey?
I, yeah,
Okay.
and then we moved to Elizabeth, New Jersey,
Okay.
and then we moved to Westfield, New Jersey, which is where we've been living now for the past almost 35 years.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you live in Westfield.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I'm always interested to hear how people's school journeys are. Like some people with Williams syndrome are like, school was the best. I love it. Brendan was like, school sucked. I hated it. Those aren't your words. You're like, it was hard. It was a trying time.
The times were tough.
Yeah, times were tough. So was it tough for you? Like which side of the fence are you on, Brett? Did you like school or not?
I think there was a lot of times where I did like it,
Mhm.
and a lot of times where I didn't like it, and I feel like for people who are not in our situation, for the situation that me and Brendan are in, like for instance, for like a good example, like math, for example. That was a hard subject for me. But the funnier thing is, though, music has numbers that are involved in it. So it's kind of almost like,
And that's easier for you, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird.
I think that makes sense. So then, you go out of school, right? Now you're an adult, you're 40s in your 40s. I'm in my 40s too. So I'm right there with you. What do you like? What was life after school? After like going to that, did you get a job? Do you have a job now?
So after high school, 2 days before I went to the Berkshire Hills Music Academy, I got 2 job offers. I basically put out about like 60 different applications to 60 different places that I felt would be a good fit for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a call within 2 days before going to my first year of college, so I ended up not going to the job offers.
Oh, did you go to college?
I did.
Oh, okay. I'm excited now to hear about this. Okay, so where'd you go to college?
Up in the Berkshires
You
in
did.
Massachusetts, yes.
And was that a 2-year program or a 4-year program?
So usually with the college, it's usually a 4-term year. But they had something where, the teachers that you would go to and you would have classes with,
Mm-hmm.
it would really depend on your work ethic and your thoughts about things and, music in general and other things. So
Some music school, right?
Yeah, it's a post-secondary school for kids with special needs. It was back then, it was more driven towards Williams syndrome. There were a few people there with Down syndrome and other disabilities, but now it's a lot different. There's a lot more people with different disabilities there now, from what I've seen. Yeah. So, and you lived there full time.
Okay. Ooh, that's
Yeah.
fun. Did you go there, Brendan?
I did. I went to Berkshire Hills Music Academy. It's in South Hadley, Massachusetts. Yeah.
Okay. And is that different than the camp you guys met at?
Yes.
Way different.
Way different.
Way different? Oh, all the
Yeah.
stories we could hear about that.
Oh, there's so many stories.
Oh, spicy stories. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you went out, you got done with college, and what did you do after that, Brett?
So after college, well, and speaking of funny thing about college, that's how I found out about the Best Plays programs.
Right.
I decided when I was in college that I wanted to join this program. And after college, I was telling my parents about the program. Within, I would say maybe, I was there from the academy from 2002 until 2009, so that was about 7 years.
Oh, cool.
And then around 2012, I think it was, Rutgers University had a Best Plays New Jersey program. My mom was contacting people to find out if they had the Best Plays New Jersey program because I was telling them about the program. And I got connected with somebody that was from Rutgers University. Within 6 years after that, I got a call from a state director named Matt Fernandez, who was the state director for the Best Plays of New Jersey. And he asked me if I wanted to be an ambassador for the Best Plays of New Jersey. I immediately accepted because I knew about the program. I knew about what the meaning of the program was meant to be about. And, ever since then, I've been speaking at events. I've been performing at events.
And so you write songs too.
Yes.
I do. Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about that.
When I was at the academy up in the Berkshires in Massachusetts, there was another band that I was involved in besides the Kennedy band called The Troop. And we did songs for people that it was from elementary, middle school, high school, and colleges. And basically, a lot of the times we would do a lot of songs that bands have done.
Cover songs. Yeah.
Cover songs. And I realized that there was a point where, and don't get me wrong, I love doing cover band songs. I think that's fun. I think that's a great way to, especially if people in the audience know the song, they'll sing along. We've had those moments.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I don't know, for some odd reason, one day I was like, okay, I'm going to start writing my own songs. I found myself, wanting to do it. I felt like, it'd be something good for me because when I was in the first year, when I was at the academy, they actually had a poetry class. And unfortunately, it didn't last long within the academy itself.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where I got the idea of starting to write on my own.
Mm-hmm. So playing in a band came first.
Right.
How many bands were you in? Because you said you were in the Can Do band. How long did you guys play together?
We were together for 10 years.
How many other people were in your band?
There was me, Brett, John, Lucas, Robbie, Tori. So about 6 or 7, including my sister sometimes and my mom sometimes. Yeah, so
Mostly people with disabilities or just...
everyone had Williams syndrome in the band.
Oh my gosh, you guys, that's so cool.
Yeah, everyone had Williams syndrome. And my mom was our manager and agent, and my sister was like our musical director. So she would come and sit in and do gigs. And shout out to the roadies too. My mom was a roadie. My dad was a roadie. Brett's dad was a roadie. Brett's mom was a roadie. Everyone, it was a whole family kind of thing, and everyone really pitched in. And
I feel like you would have
really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so I have a really hard-hitting question for you two then.
Ooh.
Broke up the band. Who was it? Whose fault was it? There's always some crazy story.
Honestly, it wasn't anybody's fault. We moved is what essentially what it was. And when I lived at my old house, we had a 30 by 30-foot loft, which we fully converted into a full-blown music studio, and everyone was kind of able to stay at my house.
Oh, okay.
And I'm the only one in the band that lives in Connecticut. Everyone else lives in like 4 or 5 different states. So it wasn't some big thing. It just life kind of happened, and I moved into a new house, and we had a lot less space. And Bret lives in New Jersey. John and Tori live in Massachusetts. Lucas lives in Michigan. Robbie lives in Long Island and Florida. So it just
Have to
logistics.
make it work for 10 years.
We had the space. We had the space in my house, and we just made it work. But there was no bad feelings, nothing like that. It just life
It's-
kind of just happened, and we just kind of had to figure it out from there.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're very happy that nothing like that actually happened, you know.
Right. Yeah.
We have to make up you guys have to make up a story. We got to blame somebody's fault. I don't know who's
Life.
Life.
Blame life.
the house.
Yeah.
So then you moved on to play in other bands, Brett?
Yeah, I mean, after with the Candy Band, I basically have been doing a lot of stuff on my own. A lot of times I'll make a YouTube video upstairs in my music room.
Yeah.
Do you have an account? Can people follow you?
Yeah, people definitely can follow me on my YouTube channel, my Instagram, my Facebook.
Okay, that's fun. And so you post your music there, and is that like, do you prefer performing like on video?
It's interesting. So back in 2015, I had a mentor that I was working with. And at that timing, I had no idea what YouTube was, what Instagram was, what Facebook was. So it was all this new technology that I had no idea that I existed. And the learning process of how to do things, taking it step by step.
Yeah.
That really got to me, to a point where I was just like, okay, well, I know now more than what I did when I started using that technology.
Yeah.
I know how to do things quicker. I learned how to, like, I don't know, just being aware of what I'm doing and making sure that the videos are, edited and this and that. And I actually have a music producer that I'm working with.
Yeah.
I just like meeting you. I was like, I bet you like it because you have more control over the whole process of start to finish of like that, songwriting, and then like performing it, and then like like you said, content creation, editing it. I can see that all the way through. You must be a person who's like very particular about how you want things to like look and feel.
Yeah, it really depends. Like I was explaining to my music producer, we're actually gonna, and this is for something that's really exciting that's gonna be starting to happen on Tuesday. We're actually gonna be doing a behind the scenes of one of the songs that we're gonna be recording.
What comes first for you? Do the words come first, or does the like harmony and the like the instrumental and all of that I don't know what the proper term is. Does that come first? Do you like get an idea of like something that's like sounds in your head, and then you come back and like write to it?
Yeah, it really depends. I mean, there's times where I'm just kind of either like if I'm walking outside, for instance, just having a clear head. This is what I love doing. I love walking outside just to get a clear head, not having to worry about being on my cell phone, being on technology. And then possibly something could come into my mind where I'd be like, oh, wow, That sounds like a really good idea for, writing lyrics to. Or I could just be here in this dining room and just kind of just sitting down and doing something, and then something will happen. Or a lot of times this happens too, or sometimes I'll be sleeping, for example, and something will come into my head, but I'll realize that I can't wake up to write, because if I wake up, I'll stay up.
Yeah.
The album that I'm writing now, the title of the album is called Realms of Heaven, Hell, Horror, and the World.
Oh,
Yeah.
whoa.
It's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's deep subject matter.
Yeah.
And the title of the album is actually a song that people can listen to.
Yeah. Well, that's the part about being an artist, right? You're always in a state of creation.
Yeah, and I will say that, my music producer, Gabriel.
Shout out, Gabriel, if you're listening.
Yeah, if you're listening, thank you so much for just letting me be myself and being able to express myself, as much as I possibly can.
As we close out this part of our podcast where we're talking about you and your life and what you're doing, is there anything you want to share with the community about having Williams syndrome, or more about the work you're doing? Like, just whatever comes to mind. It's your floor.
I want to say this to parents who have a son or a daughter who has Williams syndrome. I want you to know that you're not alone. You guys are strong people. You guys are the protectors of people who have Williams syndrome.
Absolutely. I think that's so very well said, Brett. And, like the thing that I always say, thank you for what you said. I think a lot of parents and caregivers, like, they need that, because it is hard work. But this community is extraordinary. You guys are extraordinary, and I think it's a blessing to know people with Down syndrome at True.
So
Let's get into it.
we're gonna do
25 years. You guys have said you know each other. 25 years.
25 years. A quiz, the theme song that is taking over the nation right there. The rules are, just to explain to the listener viewer, we have asked Brendan and Bret, who have known each other for 25 years, the five same questions.
Hard-hitting questions.
Yeah, the hard hitting. This is deep stuff. Potential world-changing questions.
They might not be friends after this.
Yeah. And so we asked Brendan, what would Bret say? We asked Bret, what would Brendan say? And these are their answers, and they are competing for bragging rights.
So, Bret and Brendan, we asked you guys, what was each other's favorite color?
Yeah.
What is your favorite color?
My favorite color is baby blue.
Oh!
Red, blue! Hey, so point for Brendan.
Okay, Brendan did say your favorite color was blue.
Okay.
Brendan, what is your favorite color?
Any color green.
Whoa!
Yeah!
There it is. They're nailed. They're each on the board.
Wow.
Yeah.
You guys were stressed out about that one. I was like, this is an easy question.
More stressed out that we had to be, honestly.
You were stressed.
Okay. Question
Number two.
Question number two.
They get progressively harder. So this one was a hard one. Bret, what is your favorite band of all time? Or who would you say is the best band of all time?
Who would I say is the best band?
I said, who would you say is the best
Who would
band?
you say is the best band? Okay.
Wow. I'm praying that he got this one right.
He had two. He had two guesses. vacillating between the two.
I would say Slipknot.
Slipknot. Oh, no. He said that you would that your favorite band is Evanescence.
Wow.
Evanescence. Okay. So,
Evanescence or Bon Jovi.
no
Okay.
points on the board for that one.
I still respect you, though.
I still do.
Okay, Brendan, who would you say is the best band of all time?
Ooh.
For you, who would you say?
I'd have to say Dream Theater is probably one of my favorite bands.
Whoa, Dream Theater point for Bret.
Yep.
Okay, I've never even heard of that band.
Oh,
Never-
Dream Theater?
I'm gonna have to.
Oh my God.
Classic.
Like
prog
they're
rock
the
band. Yeah.
Okay, I'm excited. I'm excited. Way to go, Bret. That's a hard one.
boy.
Yeah. Me and Brendan and another band that we were involved in, we actually went to see Dream Theater.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Right. That's a
Cool.
good night.
Okay,
Get a woo for
are
that
you
one.
ready for number 3? Bret.
Yes.
Okay, what is your favorite food that you like to eat? Or like your go-to, like
I would say Italian food.
Whoa! And another that back on track here. That is a point for Brendan.
Yep. That's what I said.
that's what he said. Okay, Brendan, what is your favorite food?
I do love me some sushi.
Sushi. Oh no! Sushi is. I forgot. Yeah, I also had this one.
Right?
Yeah, Price is Right.
Bret said cheeseburger.
Cheddar cheeseburger.
I do like those too, but
Okay, that's it. Hey,
depends.
you guys are still
You
tied.
guys are tied. You're tied.
Question.
Number 4.
Okay, now I forget what order we're going in because Brendan, the next question I asked was what your favorite instrument is. So please tell us what your favorite instrument is.
The drum.
Yeah, all right. That is a point for Bret.
And Bret, tell us your favorite instrument.
Drums.
Yeah, we got a couple of drummers here. Excellent
It was
stuff.
like with that question, that was like you guys did not hesitate. How does it work in the band? Did you guys both play drums together then? You can't.
Funny thing is, Bret was our singer too.
Okay.
So he was our singer and drummer. So depending on who was singing, we would switch off and I was the utility musician. So I would play bass, drums, guitar.
Yeah, he was all. I mean,
I was all over the place, bro.
Yeah.
Number 5. Okay, Brendan, what is your go-to phrase? A phrase that you use a lot.
Ooh. What's up?
Bret said awesome.
You said awesome
Oh,
sauce.
yeah, I do use awesome sauce. Awesome sauce.
I was like, I've totally heard you say that before.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good phrase.
It goes.
What is your go-to word or phrase?
That's awesome, dude.
Oh, he went with bro. That's awesome, bro, or what up?
That's awesome, bro.
Oh.
What's up, bro?
But here's the thing: you both are tied. You both still tied. You guys literally.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fireworks.
That fireworks.
Whoa.
I think this means you guys are destined to be friends because you guys like pretty much came in the same. I have a question now for each of you. You guys can answer it. What is something that you admire about the other? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay. What do you admire about Bret?
I admire Bret's talents as a musician. I've always respected Bret for his musical capabilities and his stage presence. He absolutely kills it when he's on stage. And
Gravitas.
Yes, he just slays the absolute dog doo-doo. He kills it, and I have so much respect for him for that and admiration. So.
Oh, I love that. Brett, how about you? Is there something that you admire about Brendan?
I just love the person that he has came to be. Besides being a musician, as Brendan mentioned before, I took him under my wings, and he was able to spread his own wings, and being able to fly down his own path that he wanted to fly down, and it's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank
Yay!
Or real cute, and I love this. You're your boyfriend, huh?
you. Yeah, we really are.
Yeah.
We really are.
Yeah, that was so fun. I loved it. You guys are like, I can see why you're friends. That's what I was saying to Joel earlier. Like, oh, yeah, this makes sense to me.
Yeah, except we were really hoping for some drama on the show and having like who was the Yoko Ono.
Yeah, who broke up the band? You guys need to make up a story. Like, it was my girlfriend who.
Technically, we could say it was like Anne, like it was Brendan's mom, because they were the ones who moved.
And broke up the band.
You Yoko'd the band.
Brett, it was so good to meet you.
It was so good to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah, it was great to see you as always, bud.
You too, man.
This has been the Starry-Eyed Podcast, presented by the Williams Syndrome Association. The show is hosted by Jennifer Keaton and Brendan Lemieux, and produced by me, Joel Listman. Theme song by Tommy Barbarella and Mariella Elm. Got a question for the show? Email us at podcast@williams-syndrome.org or message us at the Starry-Eyed Podcast page on Facebook. Video version of the podcast available on the Williams Syndrome Association channel on YouTube or on Facebook. Rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or comment on the video version, and maybe it will be featured on a future episode. Make sure to like and subscribe to the Starry-Eyed Podcast wherever you get your podcast delights.